As you know, the discussion around Australia's commitments or the demands from the American side on Australia to indicate its position in relation to a possible future conflict is wrapped up in an ongoing review being undertaken by Elbridge Colby at the Pentagon of the AUKUS arrangements, and particularly the commitment under that arrangement of the US to supply Australia with nuclear submarines. The commitment to AUKUS from Australia has bipartisan support, but the recent events in Washington, particularly the capriciousness of the current administration insofar as its broader international foreign policy, defense policy, and trade policy posture has raised a lot of eyebrows and a lot of concerns amongst people around the world, including in Australia, as to whether or not Washington is now a reliable and stable long-term strategic partner. So I think it's important to set this particular demand into a slightly broader context. I think the other thing that's interesting about this demand is that it came on the cusp of Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's visit to Beijing, Shanghai, and Chengdu, where he currently is at the moment. And in some respects, the timing of this particular leak to the Financial Times could be interpreted as being incredibly mischievous, seeking to create some tension and to cloudy the Australian Prime Minister's visit to China. So the Australian Prime Minister has responded, obviously, to a lot of inquiries from the media about this, and he's batted most of them away with a typically straight bat, and responded with I guess a fairly predictable but nonetheless a safe diplomatic response, and that is that Australia will not make prior commitments to hypothetical circumstances. It does not support unilateral changes to the status quo in relation to the status of Taiwan and the situation in the Taiwan Straits, and that Australia will make its own decisions in the face of circumstances in the future. And that's sort of where it's been left. But it has really kicked off or intensified the public debate in Australia about the long-term strategic positioning in relation to Asia, where Australia stands in relation to the United States, and ultimately how the region unfolds over the next 20, 30, and 40 years.